Hi, welcome to EdotGdot and Friends. My name is Elden Killian, and today we're going to continue ranking every board game that I've played in the last 10 years. And this is the sixth video that we're doing, and it's called Now We're Talking. Up to now, we've been talking about some so-so games. This is the top half. This is games that I enjoy for sure. Um, from here on out, it's a game I like. These, but this list is I'm not gonna like it quite as much as future lists. That's the nature of rankings, right? But now we're really talking about games that are pretty good, and so hopefully I'll have more nice things to say than bad things. But anyway, here we go. Colosseum, Wolfgang Kramer, Marcus Lupke, I believe is how you say that. This is an interesting game. I played the Days of Wonders version. This has sort of like the your score is like the best round that you have, and so you have multiple tries at trying to put together the best show. And anyway, it's an interesting game. I've only played it once. I would like to play this more. Hopefully, I get an opportunity to play it again in the future. It was an interesting game, though. Definitely worth a try. Number 329, Oregon. So this is an interesting game. It's like your player board is on this grid, and you're trying to like play cards that match up on the grid, so you can put tokens and pieces down on that board, and you kind of score by getting the right tokens and the right features to score for you. I haven't played this in a long time. I played it a few times online through a website. I think it was Brett Spielvelt that I played it on, and it was interesting. I got to play it once in person. It's an interesting game. But Oregon. Spyfall. This is a hoot of a game. Everyone is trying to figure out who's not in on the scenario. So everybody gets a card that has a location on it, and then you're just asking questions, and you're trying to suss out who doesn't know where you're at. And so, anyway, it's an interesting game, fun party game. But yeah, definitely worth a try. Ticket to Ride Rails and Sales. Um, Ticket to Ride will come later on the list. Rails and Sales is interesting when it's a whole world map, and it introduces these sails. So there's actually two decks of cards that you can draw from. So you're trying to get rail cards and sail cards to fulfill your routes. That extra deck makes the game a little less fun, but it's Ticket to Ride, decent game. On the Underground. So this is the game where you're trying to create links, and you are trying to get the world's laziest passenger from one location to another, and hopefully he rides your rails more often than other people's. Good game. I definitely would like to play this one more. Again, I only had the chance to play this one once, but interesting and good game. On the Underground. 325, The Bottle Imp. I thought I would enjoy this game more than I did, but it's a really solid like trick taking game with a nifty little trick to the game, little wrinkle there where as you play lower cards, it acts like the trump, but eventually it gets harder and harder, and you don't want to have the bottle at the end, which you do every time you use a lower card. But yeah, anyway, interesting game. Definitely worth a try if you like trick taking games, and this one does something a little bit different than most trick taking games, so definitely worth a try. Dream Home. This was a good game. You're trying to build a dream home, and you're trying to get different features of the house and different things, and score the best house. Not super in depth, but a fun little game. Dream Home. Number 323, Vinos Deluxe Edition. I probably like this game less than other people. It's ranked 113 on Board Game Geek, 8.2. That is a strong rating there. And maybe I need to play this one again. I played this once at BGG Spring, uh, kind of towards the end of a long day. Maybe it taxed my brain a little too much. I thought I played a little slow, but it was okay. It was good game. Condottiere. Trying to remember the trick to this game. You're playing cards. Man, I just remember having fun with this game. Trying to remember what the trick is to it though. There's a little wrinkle to it. It's an area control game. I'm trying to score points. Yeah, just remember. I don't know. I need to play this one again. But it's all right. Condottiere. This is a game where you're trying to get. You're trying to have control of a section of the board, and when you get there and you create this, and you do that by, it's like this auction game, but you lose everything you bid in these different currencies, and so the trick is trying to make sure you're bidding and winning things when you're strong. There's a couple of wrinkles to the game. Anyway, it's an interesting little bidding auction game where you're trying to control a section of the map. So it has this like area control thing to it. Anyway, it's an interesting little game. It's a good game. Suburbia. Man, I really need to play this game some more. My main gaming partner did not like the one time we got it out, and yeah, it seems like a game that's up my alley. I think it is a little funky the way you're kind of pushing up the scoring track and the money track, and it was a little, I don't know, for whatever it was. But it's a nifty little city builder game. I need to give this one another go. Find maybe somebody else to play this with, and because I enjoyed it. My playing partner didn't, and at the time I had the game, he was the person I was playing with almost exclusively, and so it didn't come back out again. But I should get this one back out. Suburbia, nifty little city builder. Smash Up. This is a kind of a like area control where you're playing cards on the different kind of scoring areas, and but all these cards have different abilities, and they move the rules, they cheat just a little bit, and you're trying to set it up so that you are in the best position to score the points on each of these cards, and in these scoring areas. But the cool thing about the game is you're taking two decks of cards from different, like two different factions, and you're shuffling those up, and so you can be, I don't know, like wizard dinosaurs or whatever like that, and try to make that deck. And that's sort of the nifty thing. I have a main set and a few expansions. It's not a game I played a ton, but it is pretty nifty, and I should play it more. Going backwards. All right, number 319, Machikoro. This is a good game. It has sort of like that Settlers of Catan vibe where on your turn you're rolling it and then everybody can get something. I thought the end game was just maybe a little bit wonky. Maybe I don't like it more. I've heard the Legacy version is fantastic, and maybe if I get my hands on that, I'll give this another go. But not. I enjoyed this game. It's a fun little game. Good family weight game. It's not too crazy, but maybe just a step up from some really basic games. Anyway, 319 Machikoro. 318 Scoville. This one hurt my brain just a little bit. You're trying to get these peppers in order and harvest them, and they turn into other peppers. And it's a nifty puzzle. It's a good game. It did kind of hurt my brain just a little bit, though, when I played it. But yeah, Scoville, number 318. Elysium. This game, I need to get this one back out again. this was a good game. It's I don't know if the theme actually mattered, but you're getting these cards and playing them uh, for like their scoring abilities and stuff. I don't know. Um, it does this interesting thing with the turn order that I have a hard time describing right now. But this is a good game, and it's ranked 413 on Board Game Geek. I feel like if people played this game more, it might go up, including myself. I feel like I need to play this one more because I do remember enjoying it, but I haven't played it in several years. So another game to get out. Colbert and the Great Card Game. I picked this up at BGG Spring. Bought it from Stronghold, and I haven't played the board game version of this, but the card game version. So this is a thing I really like in games where like you're using a number of workers uh, to do things. Like you can put more than one worker towards an action. But it's just this puzzle game where you're trying to get things in order. So you have the coal in the right order to send out to the factory and get it delivered. And you're trying to do that more efficiently than everybody else. But you have this hand of cards with different numbers of workers on them. And the order that you play them can matter. And it's a fun little card auction, sort of an auction, I guess. Not a true auction. It's kind of worker placement game. Anyway, Colbert and the Great Card Game. The Palaces of Carrara. I played this the first time I played this. I had kind of a negative experience where I didn't fully understand it. The game ended way sooner than I thought it was going to end. I did not do well, and it kind of gave me a bad taste in my mouth. But I played it again. I got talked into playing it again, and it wasn't so bad. It does have a kind of an interesting scoring mechanism where you're scoring different colors of cities, and some of them give you points, some of them give you money or resources. And anyway, so sort of that balance of keeping yourself going and then also setting yourself up to score some big points. But it's sort of a race game in disguise. You're really racing. It seems like whoever gets triggers the end game condition has a really good chance of winning, and so you're kind of racing towards that. I've heard that's not entirely true, but in my experience, it was. So anyway, 315, the Palaces of Carrara. Loot Island. This is a small box. What's your game? Which is not super common. Usually, there's these bigger, more complicated, brain-burning games. But Loot Island, it was interesting. It's like you're going and you're playing. I'm trying to remember if you're playing cards or if you're playing tokens or. You're going to these different spots on the island, and you're just trying to position yourself to get the best loot off of it. Anyway, I wish I could run down a copy of this game because I would like to play it some more. I played this at Game Storm in Portland. Just ran into a guy and he showed it to me. Anyway, had a lot of fun with it. Loot Island 314. Crusaders, I Will Be Done. The concept of this game really intrigued me. It's doing one of those little like Mancala type things, sort of like Trajan, but I didn't think that it did it as well as Trajan did. You'll see Trajan much later on this list, but anyway, this was, and another thing, it had this whole board thing, like you're trying to push across and you're battling people on the board and you're trying to position yourself to take places before other people. And man, it seemed like every time I tried to set myself up, people would swoop in underneath me, and that was a little frustrating. But it's a pretty good game. Crusaders, I Will Be Done, from Seth Jaffe, who fine fellow. Number 312, Root. This one's ranked really high on BGG, number 31 right now, the 8.1, and it is a good game. My problem with the game is that there is just a really high barrier to entry. Every faction is completely different. If you want to play the game well, you kind of need to understand how everybody's doing stuff. I don't own the game, and I've only had one opportunity to play it. Maybe if I played it more, I would like this more. As I could see it was a really solid game, and I had fun playing it. But I just think that barrier to entry is so high that it's just not as good of a game, I guess, as other people think it is. But again, maybe I just need to play it more. Bruges, Stefan Feld. This is one of the lighter Stefan Feld games I feel, and but still sort of the point salad-y, getting cards to do things. Anyway, a decent game. I look forward to playing it some more. City of Iron. This game was really interesting, and I know I didn't play it efficiently. The one time I got a chance to play, I played the second edition. I remember it was the second edition. It's sort of like a deck builder, but it's sort of interesting how you can pick up your cards and try and work this out. Interesting game. City of Iron. 309, the networks. You're a TV network trying to put together TV shows, so you're trying to get stars with a premise. The cards are really funny. It's a good game. This is another one. I feel like this section is like games I thought were good, but I didn't get a chance to play a lot. Played it once or twice, and this again, this is it's really a good game. I felt like there was a little bit of issue in the end game, or like leading up to the end game, where it felt like I couldn't. There wasn't a great chance to like move your fortunes at the very end. It's sort of like you almost get slotted in before the game's over, and it's hard to move out of that slot. Anyway, that's how I felt. Yeah, after one play, take that for what it is. But anyway, 309, the networks. 308, A Game of Thrones, the board game. This one would probably be higher, except for explaining this game to people is tough. I've played it a couple times. Once I just played it with a group of other people. I didn't have to explain it. And another time I had to explain the game, and it's just really hard to explain. And I didn't. And then the players were confused. I was confused. So like maybe repeated plays, it would become more easier to explain, easier to grok and play with people who already had played the game. It could be really good, a really good experience. The cool thing of this is where you're like putting these tokens on the board, and then you kind of tell people what you're going to be doing, and you can make deals, and then you flip over the tokens, and everything can seem kosher, but you're not really bound to the deals that you make. And so you can use that same token and say, "Yeah, I'm going to use this token to support you here," but you end up using it to support somewhere else nearby, and kind of hose other people. And anyway, Game of Thrones, the board game, number 308. 307, Viceroy. This was a really interesting game where you're getting these cards and you're stacking them in a pyramid, and like how things stacked up. Was it a pyramid in this game? Am I remembering this right? I have adjacency had an issue. I think it was a pyramid. So like if you placed a card in one place, like that, the power and like it wanted to match up with different things. Anyway, kind of it wasn't super heavy. I thought it was pretty good. I felt like after I played it one time, we'd play it some more, but it never came back out again. And anyway, Viceroy, decent little game. If you can, I need to get a copy of this game so I can get a couple more plays of it, see how I really feel about it. Hues and Cues. This is a newer game. Game board is just a whole bunch of colors, and then you draw a card, and pick a color off that card, and you give a clue, and you try to get everybody to get close to that color. It's an interesting game. This is a good game because you can play with lots of people, with a wide range of people. I played it with my young kids. I played with my mom and my older siblings, and it worked really well in all those situations with those people. And but it's a good little word guessing clue game. Anyway, Hughes and Q's 306. 305 Baseball Highlights 2045. I really want to play this game some more. It's an interesting baseball, not really simulation, but baseball abstraction. It has this funky theme where, like in the future, cyborgs are playing baseball, and there's cyborg players and human players, and they're competing against each other and or with each other. Anyway, I thought this was a really, really interesting game, and again, another one I want to play this one again for sure. And maybe I need to track down a copy. Anyway, 305 Baseball Highlights 2045. Tokyo Metro. Man, this game, I won this game the one time I played it, and I am still not 100% sure how I did it. I felt like the whole game I was out of the loop with other people, but in the end, all of my lines ended up working out. I made lots of money and points, and anyway, Tokyo Metro. But it's sort of like a stock game, so you're getting stocks in the different metro lines, and you're trying to run them through and connect them. And as the trains run through, when they go through stations, you can score money. I feel like the game is all money, all about the money. And then, but like the way that you're choosing your actions and stuff was really competitive, and it's just a really good game, really. If I play this some more, I'd probably like it more. The one thing I didn't love about it were the components. It has this weird cloth mat, and the colors, I don't know, just seemed a little too sparse. Like it could have been just a touch better. Some better art, better like visuals on that board would have made the game just a little bit easier to comprehend. But anyway, number 304, Tokyo Metro. 303, Sierra West. This game is really hard to get your head wrapped around at first. But after like my second playthrough, I started to kind of get the rhythm of it. But it's like the way you take your turns, you can move here, and then you can move here, and then you can move that, and then if this is here, when you do that, you get some bonuses and blah blah, and then you can move that up, and like until like you get that whole process down, there's a lot of mental taxing just doing that. And then the game is fine. the game is good. But unfortunately, I think this is a game that I'm not going to get to the table very, very often from here, because there's better games that do these things, and I didn't feel like this was that bad. But I having a hard time getting it back to the table. Detective Modern Crime board game. I've only played this solo, so this was a recommended game for the Spill Those Yards a couple years ago, I believe, or it might have been nominated. I don't remember. Anyway, I picked it up based on that, and you use this website as you're playing the game to like, and that's sort of like your investigative tools. Like you can run fingerprints, you can figure out who people are. When you're asking questions, it helps you keep track of all the stuff you've learned. You make these big memory maps on a piece of paper to help you keep track of stuff. And there's an overarching like mystery that goes along as you do the different campaigns. But you're just trying to figure out who did what. You can score. They have a scoring system at the end. They'll ask you some questions. If you get them right, you score more points. It was okay as a solo game. I think it's really solid, and I did have fun, but I never did end up playing all of them because it was too much like work, maybe is why. But you know, it, it's really slick, and I think the computer aspect of the little website where you put stuff in, that was really slick, and it was interesting how you could see that there are multiple ways to like kind of run into the information that you needed. So even if you took a different path, it would kind of loop you back into you know find the information that you needed to have to do well in the game. Uh, but you could definitely like go down rabbit holes that didn't work out. But anyway, number 302, Detective, a modern crime board game. 301, Nova Luna. This this is an interesting puzzle. It's like you're drafting these little tiles and you're putting them on your board, and the tiles have goals on them that are all about the position of other tiles that are touching it. And so as you're drafting these tiles, you're trying to fulfill the goals on other cards and that tile, and um, it's interesting. I play this 2-player and 3-player a couple times. I played the solo challenge a dozen times probably, and it's just it's fun. It's a fun game. It probably isn't higher because I feel like the draw, especially in the solo challenge, the luck of the draw kind of dictated how well you could do in the solo game. Like if you were really limited, and so the scoring almost didn't matter. It was hard to gauge how well you really did because if you just draw the wrong stuff at the end, it just wasn't going to work. Anyway, 301 Nova Luna. 300 Illusion. This is an interesting game where it has all these cards that have a bunch of different colors on them, and then those colors, you try to figure out how much of that color is on the card, and trying to put the cards in order just by looking at them. As a game, it has a little issue where just if one person is bad at doing it, the next person has a huge advantage in scoring points. As a where I had the most fun with this game actually was I took it to work and I just threw some cards out and said, "Hey, can you put these in order?" And people just kind of challenged themselves to figure it out, and that was a lot of fun, and people had fun with that. And the game itself is fine, and the challenge is fun. It's just the scoring. Just every time I played, it seems like one person just wasn't very good at it, and the next person could just challenge them all the time. And then, like in a 4-player game or whatever, it's just the person who's in the one. So if one person gets a really early lead, then that next person's like, it's just you're not going to get challenged. You're not going to have a chance to make a good challenge until it comes back around that it's too hard. And then you can get into a rhythm where one person just had a major disadvantage scoring points. But the puzzle part's fun. Like the trying to figure out the cards. That's fun for me. Anyway, number 300, Illusion. 299, Axio Rota. This is a great game. I taught this to my mom and her sister, who both of them really resistant learning new games, and they both loved it. But this is so Ingenious is a game that I haven't played, but I had the app for a while, and I did that. And so this is that game, except for instead of hexagons and Ingenious, this is squares. And what you do is you draw a square and you put it into the board, and then you're going to score points. And the trick is, or you're going to score points in all the different colors. And the trick is your score is the color that you scored the lowest in. And so you're really pushing all of the colors up. And just makes kind of for a tense game. Anyway, Axio Rota. It's a good game to play with all ages. Animal Upon Animal, small and yet great. So I have this separated. This is the small version. And then Animal Upon Animal will show up later, or did it already show up? Can't remember. Anyway, but the small version, I like, and it does feel a little bit different. It's just there's something about the big chunkier ones, and then versus the smaller pieces where they, So I hate Jenga. Jenga's like this dexterity thing where you're trying to push things out, but something like trying to stack these animals up is just it's still hard. I'm still bad at it for the same reason, but anyway, Animal Upon Animal. My kids have a good time with it when we play it with them. So anyway, 297 Scrabble Flash. So I am not sure if you could play this. I think it was just a solo game, but it has these magnetic pieces, and they change the letters. And as you can, there's a couple different game styles, but you're just trying to make words as fast as you can. It'll give you a bunch of letters, and you're trying to either like get all the possible words or there, just get as many words as you can during the time limit. And technology is pretty nifty. Like the pieces know when they're next to each other, and they know if they make a word. Unfortunately, I have 2 copies of this. I think both of them I have some batteries that are dead, so I need to get some new batteries. Put them in there, and it's the little round weird batteries, so I never think about buying them. But anyway, 297 Scrabble Flash. If you like word game, if you like making words really fast and challenging yourself, good game. 296 Long Shot. So this is like a racing betting game where you're betting on horses as they go around the track, and it's like you're rolling dice, and that kind of dictates where the horses can move. But there's like things that can happen where like things can change quite a bit in the end game, and I think even horses can go backwards if the wrong thing happens. But anyway, this is just a hoot and holler to play late at night. Not the most strategic of games, but it's a good game. 296 Long Shot. 295 Stitch Elm, or the just came out in English as Stick'em. This is a trick-taking game where it's like everybody has a color that is the color that they don't want. And so you want to win tricks normally, but you don't want to win tricks that have the bad color for you. And so it has this, I don't know, it's just really hard. If you get the one version, it actually supports like 8 players, which, it's hard to find an 8-player game sometimes. And so this is a good one. Anyway, Stick'em or Stitch Elm. Good trick-taking game. 294 Loopin' Chewy. It's silly, loud, fun. You have the 3 Stormtrooper tokens, and Chewie's in the Millennium Falcon going around a circle, and you're just trying to tap the thing to knock him back up in the air so he doesn't hit your stuff. I have so much fun with this, playing with my kids. Loopin' Louie is the other version. It's basically the same game. But anyway, Loopin' Chewy, good game. 293 King of Tokyo. This is a good Yahtzee style game that kids enjoy, adults enjoy. The 2 different victory conditions give you a little bit of strategy in what you're going to do. But so basically the 2 things, you're all these different kaiju monsters, and you roll the dice, and you're either trying to score victory points through that means, or you're trying to destroy Tokyo, and you can score points that way. And then when you're in Tokyo, you can damage the other monsters, or they can damage you. And so there's this push your luck element to the game. Anyway, good game. King of Tokyo. Highly recommend. 292 Legacy, the Testament of Duke de Crécy. So this is a fun but difficult family tree game. You are trying to make the best family tree that you can by marrying and having kids and having those kids get married and have more kids, and you're just trying to have the best legacy in the game. Anyway, the way this deals with like this whole family thing and marrying rich and marrying powerful and all that stuff out there is just really interesting. And the way the action selection works is a little different than from other games. And this is a good one. Legacy Testament of Duke to Crazy. Flick 'em up, a little dexterity flick 'em game. Especially if you get the wood bit version, it just is really nice. And I don't know, it's just a fun game to play. So it has this Western theme, and so you're flicking to move your guy, and then you can take a shot, and there's obstacles all around, so you're trying to position yourself so that you can shoot them, but they can't shoot you. There's a bunch of different scenarios in the box that you can play. Anyway, flick them up. Good game. First Class, all aboard the Orient Express. This is it's sort of like a Russian railroads type game, ish, I guess. But you're like placing these cards, and then you're trying to get through and fulfill all things and score the points and whatever. Yeah, it's an interesting game. Solid game. Highly recommend. $2.90 First Class, all aboard the Orient Express. Going Gone. This is a silly auction game. So it's a set collection game. There's a bunch of games that you're trying to, bunch of different like types of things that you're trying to get sets of, either countries or like things like a board game collection or an art collection or a car collection. And the more you have of them, the more you score. But the way you bid is you have these little cubes, and there's all these cups that are on the board, and the auctioneer is kind of counting down. As they're counting down, everybody's throwing cubes during the time frame that they're counting down, and then and so it's chaotic and hectic, and sometimes you can bet a lot for something that probably didn't make sense because just the pressure of other people bidding, and you really want to get something is like, yeah, but you don't have like time to like count each other's bids or double check things, so sometimes you overbid for things. And anyway, it's a good game. It's a silly game, but it's a good auction game. Really sound mechanics, but just a hoot to play. Anyway, $2.89 Gone. $2.88 Junkard. This is the same line of games as Flick 'em Up. But this one, you're taking all these funky shapes and you're trying to make different art structures and trying to meet the scoring conditions for the rounds that rotate around every round. And but like silly things some of them is like you're working on something and then you rotate, so you're working on somebody else's, so you're trying to set them up to fail kind of. And anyway, just a fun stacking game with a little twist there. So $2.88 Junkart. $2.87 Celestia. This is a great game that can play a fairly large crowd. It'll play up to 8, maybe 7 or 8, something like that. Anyway, but it's a good push your luck game. You're going up. So one person is the captain, and you're trying to get to the next city, and they're going to roll these dice, and there's going to be some hazards, and they're going to play cards out of their hands to see if they can beat the hazards. But they kind of announce it was like, hey, I can't beat this, and then everybody has a chance to jump out of the ship and score points. But they might be lying, and they might be able to beat it, and then they get to move on, and nobody else goes with you, or they really can't do it, and somebody doesn't believe them that they can't do it, and they stay in, and then they get nothing. Yeah, while everybody else gets it. Anyway, $2.87 Celestia. $2.86 Black Friday. This is a Friedman Freeze stock market game where the goal is to buy the most silver. And so, yeah, the way the stock market works in this one is interesting, and selling at the right time and kind of reading the market. You can read the market just a little bit, and hopefully things work out for you. And then, but silver progressively gets more and more expensive as the game moves on. So there's a push and pull. Is like, do you cash out all your money to get silver, or do you hold on to some of that money so you can buy some other stocks, maybe make a big play later? But silver is going to be more expensive. Anyway, it's a good game. Black Friday, $286. $285. Dizzle. This is an interesting roll and write. I really like the decision you have here. You can take a die, or if you can't take a die, you can choose to re-roll everything, but then you have to take one. And if you can't take one, you have to take one of your dice off of your board and put it back in the pool, so there's more dice available for other people who are playing. And you're just trying to put these dice on your board, and then at the end of the round, you can X them off. And there's just different goals, like there might be like 2 puzzle pieces on each side of the board, and if you get the 2 puzzle pieces, you can score some points. There's like these little bombs if you can knock those off, and the other people can't do it later if they didn't do it as fast as you did. Anyway, Dizzle, good roll and write. Highly recommend. Oh My Goods by Alexander Pfister. This is for a little card game. It's full of good decision making, or not good decision making, because a lot of times I choose wrong. But this has sort of Alexander Pfister has a couple of things that he's known for, and one of them is sort of like this strong or weak or brave or cowardly in some games. So this is like, okay, I can go strong for this, and you're sort of gambling that you're going to be able to pick up everything to do it strong, and if you can't, you don't get anything. Or you can do it weak, where you're going to get something, but it's a little less. And anyway, you're trying to create this engine and score points off of this engine as these cards come out. Anyway, good game. There's a lot of expansions and some kind of shoots off of this game, offshoots of this game that I haven't played, but Oh My Goods is a good one. 283 Emotep. This is a game where you're trying to build structures in Egypt, and you're trying to load the ships and then send those ships to where you want to put them. So there's this interesting where you put the ship and like where it goes. So like they come off in order, but it might be advantageous for you to send that ship and be second when it's there, and have somebody else take the ship there, and they come off, and then you get the second spot. And so there's just like this little tug of war, and like trying to outsmart other people, and it's a good game, and it's not super heavy. You can teach this game pretty easily to most anybody. Anyway, 283 Emotep. 282 Clip Cut Parks. This is a quirky little game where you get a sheet of paper, and then you're making cuts. And like it says like how many cuts you make and how long they have to be. Is it dice that you roll or cards you flip over? I can't remember. But anyway, so you're trying to cut this out so you can fit what you need onto these different parks, and so you can score the parks. Anyway, cool little game about cutting up pieces of paper in advantageous ways. Man, this is underrated, I think. If you haven't played this, you should play it. I think you would like it. 5965. That seems low to me. Clip Cut Parks. 282. 281 Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama. This is a roll or a flip and write game. So there's Avenue and there's Avenue of the Kodama. Basically the same game, just slightly different settings. And I think there's a little rule change in there, and I can't remember what it is, but you're taking these like turns and stuff, and you're trying to create pathways through the game and meet up the different features and score points. Anyway, it's a tricky little game. One interesting thing about it is like every round you have to do better than the previous round, and or else you don't score points. You get some negative benefits. It's been a little while since I played it, so I'm not quite remembering. But anyway, Kokoro, Avenue of the Kodama. Good game. 280 Sagrada. I don't like this game as much as other people, I think, but I still enjoy it. But you're drafting these dice and putting them into a what's the word? Stained glass thing, and you're just trying to follow the rules. And everybody has a different card that scores slightly different and has its own things that it wants. Anyway, it's a good little dice drafting game. 280 Sagrada. 279 Masters Gallery or Modern Art, the card game. I have Masters Gallery as the version I have. And this is a card game based on another game called Modern Art, which will be later on my list. Modern Art is an auction game. Masters Gallery is just a card placement game. It takes the auctions out, and you're just trying to make different artists be more valuable by having more of that artist out. Except for some of the cards have different symbols on it that let you put out additional cards, let you kind of play with that. And it's an interesting two-player back and forth, trying to position yourself into scoring the most points. But anyway, 279 Masters Gallery. 278 The Fox and the Forest. This is a two-player trick-taking game that works because there are some funky rules, and you don't want to be too greedy. So if you can trap someone into winning a lot of the tricks, you can score a bunch of points and they don't. Or if you just kind of get the advantage, you can score some points, but they score some points, but you got the advantage. And but some cards have special abilities in them that kind of mess with the trick. And anyway, this is a pretty good little trick-taking game for two people. The Fox and the Forest. 277, The Favor of the Pharaoh. This is a reimagining of another game called To Court the King, where you're just rolling these dice and you're trying to get these cards that give you more dice or give you powers and abilities. Favor of the Pharaoh is more modular, so there's lots of different things that can happen. To Court the King, I think it's always the same setup all the time. And, but the Favor of the Pharaoh has a bunch of different modules that you can substitute in. It makes the game just a little bit different. Anyway, this is fun. At the end, everyone's just trying to do their best to outdo everyone else. And sometimes if you didn't get enough of those special abilities, like you don't have any way, or not so much special abilities, but there's ways to get more dice that you're allowed to roll. And if you just didn't get enough dice, then you can't win. And anyway, but it's a good dice chucker. Favor of the Pharaoh. Quirkle, 276. It's so simple to teach and to play, and just a wide variety of people can play. This is not a gamer's game. This is a game that everyone and their dog can play, and most people have fun playing it. So have a lot of fun with this game. 276 Quirkle. 275 Cosmic Encounter. Man, the negotiation in this game and the card draws, and it can get so crazy and silly, and it's a good late night game, I feel. 275 Cosmic Encounter. 274 King Domino. The first couple times I play this game, it's like, you really could get stuck in a situation where you never make an actual decision in this game on the auction. Like, you can just always get stuck going last if the people in front of you keep taking the lower dominoes. But then if that did happen, you'd probably win, because in general, the best scoring ones are higher numbered and you would be taking them last. So if you're constantly going last all the time, you probably wouldn't do too bad. The flexibility, you wouldn't have the flexibility of certain stuff, but you'd be getting all those crowns that would score you a bunch of points. And so maybe it's okay to not have a meaningful decision in the game. But as I played it more and more, because it's so easy to teach and you play with so many different people, I've played it a good number of times, and it just never goes that way because it is you go last because you're going to get a tile that's going to score you some points, and then just the trying to place the dominoes and not screw up so that you can't place your last domino is just interesting. Anyway, 274 King Domino, 273 Finito. I've played this game a lot because you can play it really fast and it's just bingo. But you have some choices. You roll the die and you have to put your token on the number, and you're trying to get your tokens in order. And you know, it's like, and you're always in the search of the mythical 12 roll win, which I've heard has happened. It's never happened for me. And then, but anyway, not the deepest game, but if you got to kill 5 minutes, this might be one of the best ways to kill 5 minutes at a game night ever. Finito. 272 Fantasy Realms. So this is sort of like a card drafting game, kind of. So you have a whole hand of cards, and each round you're going to draw another one and get rid of a card, and you're just trying to get the best scoring situation for you. Like some cards want to be with other cards in the deck. Some cards you want to have sets of. Some cards want to have just all kinds of things. So you're just trying to get the right situation. Some of them work really well together. Other ones don't. And then you go through the game, and anyway, it seems really simple, but it's a fun exercise in trying to score the most points in a pretty light drafting game. Anyway, 272 Fantasy Realms, 271 Dice City. I got rid of this game because I want to make some room on my shelves, and I thought I'd get some value out of this one, and I kind of regret it. I'm probably gonna end up rebuying it, and it's not that it's such a fantastic game, but it's just a good game that works in a lot of situations with people that I play with. Um, but but yeah, you're just trying to get better cards and make different dice rolls be more valuable. And anyway, it's a good game. 271 Dice City. 270 Sushi Go Party. Sushi Go will be later on the list, and you could argue they're the same game, but they're not. Sushi Go, the way the deck's constructed is different. The way cards go back into it after every round is different, and Sushi Go Party has a lot of different variants. And those different cards that can come in do change the game, but I do not like the way the deck is constructed as much as Sushi Go, which we'll see a little bit later. But anyway, this is a great drafting game. Really good drafting game, we'll say at this point. Anyway, Sushi Go Party. Railroad Inc. Deep Blue Edition. This is a roll and write game where you are trying to connect railroads. So there's railroads and there's roads, and they connect differently, and you're trying to connect them to other areas of the board, and and score points. Anyway, pretty good roll and write game if you're looking for a roll and write. 268 Ticket to Ride Europe. I have this separated from regular Ticket to Ride because there are some rules differences. I do not think we've seen Ticket to Ride yet, so Ticket to Ride Europe, slightly lower than Ticket to Ride. Panamax. This is kind of a heavier, so you're pushing these ships through the Panama Canal, going either east to west or west to east or north south, whatever it is. And there's different kinds of ships. There's cruise liners and there's military ships, and you're trying to get them through and scoring points and getting money in the different ways possible. And I remember the first time I played this, I made a big mistake early on that really I just wasn't paying attention. I ended up having to pay a bunch of fees that I couldn't afford, and put me in a hole for the rest of the game. But the second time I learned my lesson, and it definitely played for a different game, and just that kind of push and pull for like trying to get your slot in your ship in the right position so it pushes through. Really interesting game. Anyway, Panamax. And then Ticket to Ride. So, Ticket to Ride, I do like Ticket to Ride a little bit better than Ticket to Ride Europe. Even though Europe has the little stations that make it a little easier to make some connections, I think the original is still the best way to play. Anyway, Ticket to Ride. Really good. I guess you could say this is a rummy style game. You're collecting cards, trying to get the colors of cards, but that board and getting your routes. That the push and pull and the competition to get the routes and not be blocked and make your thing is fantastic. Anyway, Ticket to Ride. 265, 2-cushion bumper shot. I really like playing this game. The challenge of shooting that thing and hitting the rubber band and getting it back into land. It's just shuffleboard with that curve in there. But I could do it all day long. I don't know. 265, 2-cushion bumper shot. And that is the end of our video today. Thank you for your time. Anyway, this has been EdotGdot and Friends. I'm Elden Killian. We've been ranking every game that I've played in the last 10 years. And we're going to end at 265, 2-cushion bumper shot today. Which BGG does not agree with me. They don't like this game. But it's good. Especially if you have a good quality one. You need a good quality one. Anyway, I don't need to keep defending this to you. It's my list. I like the game as much as I like it. And but we'll see you next time. Goodbye.